Okay, so today let's see about the object properties in JavaScript. As you all know that JavaScript is an object-oriented programming concepts. So let's jump into some of the properties that is very important in JavaScript to understand the basic concepts and to move forward. So how do you create an object? So the basic object that you create is say variable person equal to new object. So this is using the object constructor to create an object. So as all of you know from previous tutorials that JavaScript comes up with few inbuilt constructors which can be used to create objects. Not just this object, but also strings, arrays, and pretty much everything like data object, math object, and stuff like that. So let's bow down. So we have in object has properties and methods. So how do we add property to this? We say person dot name equal to John. So what we have done here is we have added a property called name to an object called person, and the value that has been added is John. We can add the same thing like person.age equal to 30, and then we can add some method. So what is a method? A method is a property which has a value as a function like this, and suppose we say alert this dot name. So let's go back and check what we have done. In line 1, what we have done is we have created a person object by using object constructor. Okay, don't get confused because there is something called as constructor pattern also. This is by using constructor. Okay, and then we go forward and we add a few more properties. So here we are adding properties to the object, and property has values. So the values is like John and 30. Now, what is a method? A method is something like a function that has been added as a value to a property, which is like adding a method. So pretty much you imagine that we are creating something like a variable. It's like variable sum equal to function, right? So this is exactly what we are doing over here, but in this case, we are pretty much adding that to a property. So how do we extract these properties that has been stored inside the object? So for that case, if you say console.log person.name, go ahead, open your console. In Chrome, you see this console. You pretty much say in body and you run it. You get John here, right? So that means this property is working properly. How do you run a method? You simply call it as you call a function, person.cname, and you put this and you say run. You alert John. So this is a very simple way of creating an object by using an object constructor. But then there's another way where we can do this same thing. We can use object literals, which is more feasible, shorter form, and expected out of more preferred way of doing things, right? So it's called an object literal way. How do we create an object literal way? Same way, you say variable person equal to, instead of new object, you say parenthesis. This thing, whatever you have created, the flower brackets, is pretty much equivalent to what you write as variable new object is equal to this. So anyone who recognizes this curly braces will know that we are creating an object over here. Okay, how do we add properties and methods inside of this particular section? You go in here, you say name, colon, and it's a string, so add John. Over here we are adding semicolons. Over here we're going to add commas because they are a conglomeration of all the properties together for a particular object. So we say age, colon, 30, comma, say name, function, and you write your function pretty much here. You go and say alert this dot name. So now pretty much most of you guys must have read and heard about the word keyword this in previous tutorials, but since we have started object, let me again refer to what is this. JavaScript in a basic set of levels is a function scoped language. That means everything that you write in JavaScript is within a function. So when you say console.log of this in the global scope, it refers to the window object. Okay, so when I say run John window, so this was the global section. The whole JavaScript is called the window. Okay, but when you refer to this within the scope of an object or a function, it refers to the object itself. Okay, going forward, this is the very basic way of creating objects. I mean, do shoot us an email if you have more clarification needed as far as objects are concerned. We would be more than happy to answer your questions and queries, and we will take it forward from there. Thank you so much for watching our video.